Hi, internet people. I wanted to make this video so soon after my last one just because I wanted to talk about another fandom. Now that I don't love Doctor Who, I love it a lot. I just wanted to break up my videos a little bit. This time I'm going to be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Joss Whedon, I think he did amazing things with the show and then with the spin-off Angel. And I think uh, it was the first TV show he did that really, it eventually took off and it became like iconic. I remember hearing references related to Buffy before I actually saw the show, and I kind of knew about it. I knew about the title, the basic maybe concept, but I didn't know anything about the characters. I didn't know anything about the actual story. So I just thought I'd start with season 1 and maybe a little bit of season 2. Mind you, I'll probably be talking about like the whole series overall, but season 1 and 2 specifically. Now, season 1, then other seasons too, but this one is especially campy. The effects are not that great, but I still, as I watched it, I don't remember exactly when I started watching, but I remember thinking, okay, it's not bad. I'm willing to maybe kind of wade through it, see if it gets better, see if it improves. But that first episode, where we see the high school, we see two teenagers breaking in, and a girl and a guy, and her thinking, oh, that she heard something, she heard a noise. That cliche build up to, oh no, they're gonna get eaten, or the guy's like actually a monster. But as it turns out, the girl is a vampire and she eats him. So, obviously a twist on that, on that cliche story that we all know. Joss Whedon kind of turned it on its head. So, yeah, I found that interesting. And obviously, showing on, we meet Buffy, we meet Xander, we meet Willow and Cordelia. I liked these characters, and I liked kind of the friendship that they formed, that they went through together. And I think when I go back and watch the pilot, I just think it's humble beginnings of Buffy, obviously, how she met Angel. David Boreanaz was so young back then. He was not, I don't want to say baby face, but he was just really, really young looking. And I'm just like, wow, that was forever ago. And I love him as an actor. I think he got way better as the years and seasons went on. But God, I think in this episode in particular, in the pilot, he wasn't that good. I'm sorry, David. I love you, but back then, I don't know if it was the writing or the directing or you or what, but I don't know what it was, but you weren't that great of an actor in the pilot. Maybe it was the lines you're giving. Some of them felt a little bit awkward to me, but no, I think it was still okay, and it was still good. I found it interesting seeing like 90s fashion, 90s slang. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar, she was so young, like compared to later seasons. We obviously see her get older, we see her become a young adult, but here she's supposed to be like 15 or 16. And so just seeing her beginnings and seeing her reluctance to be a Slayer, but still kind of like, okay, yeah, it's my job. One girl in all the world to fight the demons, fight the forces of evil. I love Sarah Michelle Gellar's wit that she brings to Buffy. Her and her vulnerability too. But anyway, Buffy is she's humorous and she's fun, of course, while taking on this serious task. And especially going to a new school and moving to, Sunnydale. It's got to be an adjustment. But she does well, and I'm glad she makes friends and that she befriends Willow, who's kind of a nerd, a social outcast. And we meet Xander, too, who at this point, as we know, had a crush on Buffy. So I'll probably post thoughts about that later. But I've posted a ton of posts on Tumblr about all of this. But yeah, seeing that first season of the Master and him being the villain and him trying to break free of his prison, I found that okay. I don't think I was that compelled. I liked characters like Buffy and Giles and her friends more, obviously. Maybe you're supposed to at that point. I'm not really sure. But as the season obviously built and we get see Angel more, and we also find out he's a vampire, like, that's huge. And, like, and that he's different from other vampires because he has a soul. That's just, it's interesting how that's handled and how that evolves throughout the show. And how, everything to do with his soul becomes very significant. Yeah, spoiler alert, he eventually loses it and then gets it back. And anyway, but yeah, that first season and that arc that gets completed at the end of I think 12 episodes. It's shorter than the rest of the seasons. That was probably a good thing at that point because season 2 was a lot better. But anyway, yeah, the Master gets defeated and everyone works together and it's awesome. That's kind of Scooby Gang gets, like, is formed and is just tighter than ever. Just a few of the things I like this season. Giles training Buffy. That's always fun. That's always humorous. And how he's like, well, don't you want to wear, like, protective padding or whatever? And she's like, I don't need that. And she totally doesn't. She totally, like, kicks his ass in training. So that's fun to see. And then the gang's reaction to Angel, and knowing he has a soul, yes, but still, Xander treating him like he's evil and he's always going to be evil, and that I understand, but part of it had to do with Xander liking Buffy too. So that whole, I don't know, antagonism, it felt redundant sometimes, but that's another video for another time. But but season 1 and how Buffy, she's reluctant, but it's like, okay, I'll save my friends, I'll fight vampires, I'll patrol, but I want to have a normal life, I want to just have a normal high school life, and because, it can be tough slaying, and plus, I never saw the movie that the show was based on. I heard it wasn't that good, but, like, I never saw that, but from what I understand, from what the audience learn, excuse me, from what we, the audience, learned, she had, at the end of that, trapped a bunch of vampires in the gym and burned it down. Now, obviously, that defeated the vampires. That was a good thing. But the school didn't look too kindly on that, so she was promptly expelled, and, that's why she had to move. But so that's the premise of the show, that she's the new girl, that she's, having to adjust to all this. And also keep being a slayer. That didn't just stop because she just killed a bunch of vampires and won one big battle. She has many more other battles to face. And at the end of the season, she basically dies. And she comes back to life, but she basically dies. Now, in this book, Joss Whedon, The Complete Companion, which I've read almost all of because it's amazing. It's really an academic approach to the whole thing, which I hadn't really read before. I'd read fan-written, like, metas and analysis of different things, which is kind of in the same vein, but not quite, because it can be a little bit boring sometimes, but it was still really interesting. Anyway, what was I saying? In this book, it talks about how, Buffy didn't actually die at the end. She just, like, passed out. Which I can understand, because that whole scene with her finally confronting the Master and then her being scared, obviously, but, and him getting the better of her, him drinking her blood and then being able to be free. I guess maybe they didn't want to drag it out, but it felt a little fast to me. It felt like it happened really quickly. So maybe he was impatient, Maybe he just, it's like, drank some blood and been like, oh, wait, I don't want to stay here drinking your blood. I want to leave. I want to be free. So that's kind of what he does. So I feel like she died, and then obviously Xander and Angel bring her back, and she clearly has, like, renewed vigor for her job and ends up kicking butt, and her and her friends, they save the day, and it's awesome, and the Master dies, and, season 1 is over. Now, a few other things I liked this season was, I think it was this season. It might have been season 2. Sorry if I get those mixed up. But I love the way that at one point I think Giles and Angel are avoiding Buffy because they know about the prophecy that talks about her death and that talks about how she's gonna face the Master and she's gonna die. Well, it might not be it might be about that and about like Angel like wanting to date her but not knowing, just questioning different things, and Willow just like standing up to both of them and just be like, come on, get your heads out of your asses and go talk to Buffy, go do what you need to do, stop like hiding things from her, be honest, all those things. And just like, I love that Willow wasn't afraid to stand up to both of them. One of them's a vampire, and I'm just like, yes, there you are, Willow, there's that spunk, there's that spirit that's not afraid to do what's right. And that might have been the beginning of season 2, sorry about that, but I think that's a really good moment for Willow's character. I think Allison Hannigan played her really well. Yeah, in season 1, there's some good episodes in there. Some cheesy ones, obviously. Like I said, it's campy. I think a lot of the earlier seasons are campier than the rest, but I think the acting though is good. The stories are good. The plot lines they're great. So you kind of have to wade through some things, but it gets better. And in the finale of season 1, where Buffy finally learns about the prophecy and she finally learns that if she faces the Master, she's gonna die. That to defeat him, she has to die. And obviously we see later that she comes back and it all works out. But at this point, she's just like, no, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die. I'm not ready. And all that kind of thing, and her just getting upset, just like, no, I quit being the Slayer. I don't want to be the Slayer if it means I have to die and I can't live. And I love that vulnerable, emotional moment, just because you feel so much you see so much for being a badass and being able to face the danger and face the vampires and do her duty. But at this point, you see she's a teenager. She's a teenage girl, and she has other things she wants to do, that she's used to fighting vampires, but she's gotten fairly used to that. But her hearing a prophecy that she's gonna die, she's not a callous superhero. It doesn't just roll off her, and I kind of like that. Obviously, she evolves over the seasons, and from what I've kind of heard and read and seen, that seasons 2, 3, and 5 were the best ones. Yeah, and I can definitely see that. I certainly understand why, because season 2 had some like amazing storylines, especially with Angel losing his soul. Oh, that was heartbreaking. But it was intense too, and David Boreanaz was really able to stretch his acting wings and really be able to play another character essentially in Angelus, his alter ego. So that interesting. I still maintain that, I think in his own twisted way, Angelus still felt something for Buffy, even if it was obviously, not in a good way, but kind of in a twisted way. Anyway, and season 4, some of it was a little bit of a letdown overall, but I think it still had specific episodes where it was good. Just not overall story. And then season 6, I understand why people don't like this one because it's darker. It was after season 5 that things maybe took a darker turn for the last 2 seasons. But I also maintain that there are some fairly dark moments before this. Maybe not an entire season's worth, but I still feel like there were definitely really dark and hopeless moments before this. Season 1, season 2 with Angel, and then season 3, I think, with Faith and her like betraying her friends. I mean, and then season 5 when learning that someone has to die and that whole thing. So I think for people who think that it was just rainbows and puppies before season 6, I think they're kind of deluded. But I definitely understand, because season 6, a lot of things changed, and then season 7 obviously the last season, and they faced the greatest evil they've ever faced. So I understand that, but yeah, I just want to do a different fandom. I thought it'd be fun and interesting. I hope that you if you haven't seen Buffy, go watch it. Go watch it right now. The first season's shorter than the rest. Get through it. I promise it gets better. It's really good. In season 2, it takes off. It takes off to awesomeness. So, yeah, go on that journey. Read this book if you want. It talks about not just Buffy, but all of his shows and movies, like Firefly, Angel, Doctor Horrible, Sing Along Blog, Dollhouse. Then finally the movie he directed, The Avengers, then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Much Ado About Nothing, a lot of different things. So, yeah, they're really interesting topics and really interesting essays that discuss characters and character arcs and things like that. Anyway, again, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you all later. Bye!